Do you ever have days where everything is just hard? Like you're very committed to something like, say, cooking your meals from scratch, having high quality homemade food at home, but it just seems like today everything is hard. Now, that could be for a lot of different reasons depending on what all you have going on in your life. For me, I have a few hard things going on in this particular day that all are happening in the same day. So it's a bit of a challenge, but today I'm remembering and practicing some of the things that I like to do to help through these types of days. And so I'm going to bring you along and share what those are. So in this particular day, I have a baby who's teething. I think she's also fighting off a little bit of a virus too at the same time. So she has been so fussy. When she's awake, she just wants to be held. And then when she sleeps, I have to kind of scramble and get my things done that are hard to do when I'm holding her. So I like to wear her a lot, but she doesn't love to be worn full time. So we can do that for parts of the day, but not all the time. So I have to cram everything that I need to get done without my hands full into when she's sleeping. Also, for whatever reason, I think there was some smoke from a nearby fire. And that, I don't know what it is, if it's the things that they spray to put out a fire or what it is, but it gives me a little bit of a headache when that's in the air. And so today I'm just feeling a little bit not great myself because of that, and that really doesn't help. It's harder to have motivation and get things done when you're not feeling 100%. And then there's always different things that kind of come in combinations, things that happen all the time, but when they're added with these other things, it just starts feeling like a lot. So as many of you know, when you have young kids, there's disagreements that come up, and some personalities have more of these disagreements than others. And one particular combination of my kids right now, they're very prone to kind of having disagreements and needing help resolving that well. So that's another thing that just, it's time consuming and it's important, good work. And I love that work, but it's just another hard thing that comes up. And in combination with everything else, it's a lot. And then also on top of those things today, we're also dealing with a refrigerator that's starting to go bad. So thankfully there is a warranty on this. And so on this particular week later on, we're able to swap it out for one that is working correctly, but basically it started not keeping our food as cold as it should. And so obviously there's a lot of problems with that. We had leftovers and meat spoiling much quicker than they should have been. And for my sourdough, I like to do the cold ferment in the refrigerator. And then I got used to how long it could be in there and still turn out good. But this time, with the refrigerator being warmer than normal, it was throwing that off. So by the time I got it out to bake, it was already overproofed and had risen too much. And so I end up with flat loaves that are, not my favorite. They still taste good, they still work, we still use them, but it's always just a little disappointing when you don't get that perfect rising time. So what are the things that I like to do when I have a day like this where it's not just one challenging thing or two, but there's a bunch all in one day and it's just hard. So one of the first things that I like to do is make sure I'm feeding myself. So when your hands are full with a crying baby who just doesn't feel good, it can be easy to just be like, oh, I'll just grab a little tiny bit of something here and there. And before you know it, I'm not eating enough and I'm not having regular meals, or what I am eating isn't the best for keeping me going. Usually in my case, it's just not enough. And so I like to make sure that when things are hard, I prioritize some of that time, those little tiny windows of time here and there when she's asleep or things are calm, and I can have a chance to go and make an actual meal for myself. I'm particularly bad about lunches when things are hard, and so today I'm being very intentional about getting out my bread, slicing some of that, getting some leftover meat out of the refrigerator, and putting a sandwich together for myself so that that way I know that I have a good solid lunch in. And that way I can feel better. I can have more energy, better stabilized blood sugar. All those things just help me be the best version of myself when things are challenging. So that's number one, feed myself, even when things are hard. Something else that I like to remember when things are hard is to keep in those very important nutrient dense foods that you need to not be without when things are challenging and your body is going through extra hard things. So earlier in the video, you saw me straining my milk kefir. That's one of my favorite powerhouse probiotic foods that I always have going on, always. I was going to say on a regular basis, but it's always going. I never don't have it going. I love kefir more than yogurt for a couple reasons. One, it is more beneficial than yogurt. It's a lot more powerful as far as probiotic benefits. So it has a lot more beneficial bacteria than yogurt does. Kefir also has a lot of beneficial yeast strains that can be so helpful. So in our modern world, there's so much that we're up against: stress, toxicity, lots of different things, and having a good base of keeping a digestive system working well and healthy with consistent probiotic foods can go a long ways. And so that's one of the things that I love to keep in is some probiotic food. So throw some sauerkraut alongside dinner, make sure I keep my kefir going, and then call it good. That's about all I can fit into one of these challenging, busy days like this when there's a lot going on and things are hard. But I find it makes such a difference to keep some of those things in. So as I'm going about my day on some of these days, as far as what goes on in the kitchen, I try to prioritize. I know I'm not going to have time for everything. So like I was mentioning, I keep those very important foods in, those probiotic foods, because they make such a difference in helping me feel better and just helping me feel as good as I can while, facing anything that's difficult. So the other thing that I like to do is when I know that I have that good base of a handful of key foods that I keep in and I keep going and are easy to pull out and add to meals, is the rest of the meals can be quite simple and I still know that I have a great nutritional base. So I like to do sourdough on a very regular basis. You've seen that, and so I'm able to easily have some of that on hand. And these days I have been into bread, but it wasn't always that way. Back when I had even less time, I focused really on just quick sourdough recipes that could be made just with usually sourdough discard, or they were just very simple and not complicated at all. And so that's one way that you can do it. If you have a sourdough starter that you have on hand, you can pull that out. You can make so many easy things just at the drop of a hat that already have that fermented and soured grain base. So once you have kind of a nice routine of these probiotic foods and different things going on a regular basis, then when you have a hard day, it's really easy to pull from them, and then you're set up to have a much easier time keeping up with higher quality food even when things are hard and your time is super limited. Another thing that can really help is sort of having it in the back of your mind to plan for times like this, because you don't want hard days, but they're going to be inevitable. They're going to happen now and then, whether we like it or not. And so just having a good routine of things that you make when you do have extra time. So like the sourdough on nice open free days can be really nice, because then you have it on busy days when there isn't time to actually sit down and make it. So that's what I like to do, is work on these things when I have more time and things are going well, and get some things stocked up so that when things are busy, I can pull from them. And another thing that I like to do on days that are just hard is to go ahead and be realistic about my meals and keep meals very simple. So today we are doing spaghetti. So I'm just browning ground beef along with some fresh chopped onion and garlic. I'm doing the onion and garlic this way because my baby has more recently started solids, and I didn't want to do the powdered forms of these, but that's oftentimes what I will do when everybody's doing great with it, is just add onion powder, garlic powder, some salt, maybe pepper in with my ground beef. Done. So easy. Just brown it up and it's good to go. So today I'm also boiling some organic pasta. If some of you are coming from a GAPS diet perspective where you might be wondering about eating pasta, I've shared a lot on my old channel about my health journey and some different health journeys of my family members. And I definitely did my time working on gut health and rebuilding and detoxing and things like that. And it was so worth it. The more time goes on, the more and more thankful I am that I took that time and did did the discipline that it took to stick to GAPS. If you're not familiar with GAPS, it stands for Gut and Psychology Syndrome, or Gut and Physiology Syndrome, and it is a diet designed by a doctor who helped her son. And there's so much that I talk about on my old channel about GAPS, but I just wanted to mention that because I know that some people might have questions about that. But GAPS is designed to be a temporary healing diet. When you have overcome the different health issues that you needed to, then you can transition off of it. And Dr. Natasha talks about that, how to do it. And I know that people have asked her about things like sourdough and pasta, and how often can people eat these things once they've come off of GAPS. And she talks about when there are no symptoms, you can have those things like homemade sourdough, high quality sourdough bread every day if you're doing well with it. You can have pasta, like say once a week or so, and that should be fine. You know, it's very individual. Sometimes people won't be able to do well with it and they need to avoid it still for whatever reason. But she said if there's no reason to avoid it, go ahead and enjoy it. So every once in a while, we will go ahead and have a spaghetti dinner. It's very fast and easy to put together. So on a day like this, when things are hard, it turns out to be just a nice, easy dinner to throw together. Everybody enjoys it. I'm able to get it done in not much time while the baby sleeps, or maybe another family member holds her. And then we are able to just have a nice homemade meal on the table, and it just keeps everything easier. So I would love to hear from you in the comments. Let me know, what kind of challenges do you face where sometimes it just feels like, oh, staying in the kitchen and cooking from scratch today just feels way too hard. What kind of things are you dealing with? I'd love to know. I'd also love to know what kind of tips and tricks that you have come up with that really help when things are hard, but you're still committed to homemade meals and being in the kitchen as you can and just keeping your body fed well with high quality nutrition even when things are hard. Let me know in the comments because I'd love to hear your thoughts. Something that I also wanted to mention that is something new that I've been doing recently is building up a Patreon platform. So it is where you can go and watch all of my videos ad-free. There's also exclusive content over there that I don't share other places. One of those is going to be something that I'm going to start very soon, and that is live cook with me videos. So this is where I will be in my kitchen cooking live so I can interact with you guys live that way. So I think that sounds so fun, and I'd love to know if that's something that you're interested in. If so, I'm going to be planning on starting that soon, and if you'd like to be a part of that, check out my Patreon. There's a link down in the description box where you can head on over to it and look at it and join if you would like. But I would love to see you there. I think that would be so fun. But anyway, thank you so much for coming along in today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. Hope that you don't feel alone. If you were feeling kind of alone, like maybe you were struggling with some of these things, you're definitely not. So hopefully it was encouraging, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.